apple galette. Yum. Today I'm making a classic apple galette, and here are the ingredients that we need for the dough section of the video. We need 1 cup of flour, 2 teaspoons of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 6 tablespoons of butter, that's 3 ounces, and also water. And we're going to use our tablespoon measure to slowly add water to our mixing bowl as we're creating the dough. Now this is for the dough section. Afterwards, we're going to work with the apples, and I will give you the ingredients for that section as we get there. So here are the ingredients for the dough, so let's get started. Alright, so let's take our flour and pop that in. And pop our sugar in, and our little bit of salt. And you can just mix that around. There we go. We're going to pop all our butter in there, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my little pastry blender, and I'm going to start blending this all together to incorporate the butter with the flour. And this is going to be for the base of our apple galette. Alrighty, so let's grab our water. This is cold water, which I have. I can move over here so we can see. There we go. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to grab some water. I'll start off with 3. Let's say 4. There we go. Alright. And what I'm going to do is grab a wooden spoon and start mixing this together. This is a great wooden spoon. I found this at a restaurant supply store. Where am I here? Made in France. And all of them were slightly different. They're all handmade. You could see that they were actually hand carved. Beautiful, beautiful spoon. And the thing was only about $6. So you can see the dough here is quite dry, so I'm going to add in a little bit more. So we were up to 4 tablespoons. So let's add another couple in. And mix that around. So that's a total of 6 tablespoons of cold water that we've added in. It's very easy to overmix a dough like this, so it's really nice to do it by hand. If you use a KitchenAid food processor, and there we go. That's going to be it. Like I was saying, if you were using a food processor, this is going to be done very, very, very quickly. So you don't want to overdo it. You have to be very careful. And that dough is done. So there we go. It's a little bit wet, but not too wet. You can see. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up in plastic wrap, and we're going to pop it in the fridge for it to rest. Alright, so a few seconds later I'm back. I've got my plastic wrap out here. What we're going to do is we're going to take the dough and just pop it in the plastic wrap. And you don't want to make a ball out of it because we are going to be rolling this out later, so you're better off to just flatten it out a little bit like this. There we go. We'll pop that in the fridge for about half an hour, and then we'll come back and we'll work on this later. So our dough is now chilling in the fridge, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut up our apples. So I've got a few apples here. How many apples do you need? If you have larger ones, maybe 4. I've got a few apples here. They're quite small, so I'm going to use 6. So there we go, I have all my apples sliced up, and I'm going to cover them now with some plastic wrap until we're ready to roll out our dough. So I'll just get the plastic wrap on there. Alright, my dough's been chilling for about half an hour now, so let's get it out of the wrap. Let's get some flour down on our work area, a little bit on the top, and we just want to roll this out to a nice sized disc. Alright, that's good enough. So what we're going to do is I'm going to roll it up on my rolling pin, and then I'm going to place it down here. There we go. And if you want to be really fancy, you could have taken a knife and made it totally round, just remove some of the edges, but I don't know, I like pies that have a little bit of a rustic kind of look to them. So here's our pie shell, or crust, and what we're going to do now is we're going to take our apple that we sliced earlier, and I'm going to start just making a little round going around. So basically the idea is we're going to be taking this and we're going to be folding it over later. So what you want to do is place it so that you've got enough dough to be going over, just like that. So let's just start lining these up around here. You see, so because you want to have a little bit of dough that's going to go around the edge of the apple. So I'm going to continue this. I'll probably just speed the video up a little bit here so you don't have to watch me doing this for 2 minutes. So I'll be back live in a second. I made some sugar cinnamon mix. So put a little bit of sugar in my, in your little shaker. Put a little bit of cinnamon in there, and now you've got this ready for any time that you want to coat something. In this case, I'm going to be doing this. So let's do that. There we go. Alrighty. So let's get some butter here. Now the idea is not to cover the whole thing up completely. That's not the point of this galette. What you want to do is just fold it up like this, and there we go. Alright, next thing I want to do is just take a little bit of water, and I'm just doing this so that the sugar sticks a little bit better. I'm going to be putting some sugar on here. Now you can put regular white sugar on here if you want, or you can use raw sugar, which is called turbinado sugar, and you can find that in most grocery stores now. So there we go. Just make it, whoops, get over here, butter. There we go. Alright, there we go. So here I've got my turbinado sugar here. So I'll grab some of that. I'm just going to sprinkle it on. And this is optional, but it's nice to have it on there. You can use regular sugar, like I said, if you don't have this kind of sugar. And there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this into the oven, 400 degrees until golden brown. Alright, let's pop our apple galette into the oven. Alright, so our galette has cooled down quite a bit, and I'm going to just cut right into it. Hear that nice crunch? There we go. And there we go. Apple galette. Yum. So that's it for this video, so I'll see you next time.